What are hurricanes? Hurricanes are one of the three types of tropical cyclones that form over tropical or subtropical oceans. Hurricane season in the northern Atlantic officially begins on June 1st and ends on November 30th. During this period, 97% of tropical cyclone activity takes place. But these dates are not magical in any way. There are hurricanes that take place outside of these 6 months. Tropical storms form when air from high pressure areas move to low pressure areas, creating warm, moist air that rises and cools, forming clouds. These storms spin counterclockwise and clockwise due to the Earth's rotation. As the system rotates, an eye forms with a center of low pressure and calm winds. Pre-existing weather disturbances, warm tropical oceans, moisture, and light wind shear are all components of tropical systems. We can associate this phenomenon with violent winds, huge waves, torrential rains, and floods if the conditions are right and present for a long period of time. In the Atlantic, Central, and Eastern North Pacific basins, a weather system can sometimes be referred as a potential tropical cyclone, even though it doesn't meet all these criteria. When it does, these can be forecasted as a tropical storm or hurricane. When winds reach 39 miles per hour, a tropical storm is formed. When winds reach 74 miles per hour, a tropical cyclone, typhoon, or hurricane is formed. Just to make this clear, however, hurricane is a term used in the northern Atlantic, central North Pacific, and the eastern North Pacific. Typhoons are the same type of disturbance that occur in the northwestern Pacific. Regardless of the strength with the winds associated with the system, the term tropical cyclone is generically used in the South Pacific and Indian Ocean. Intense tropical cyclones with winds exceeding 115 miles per hour naturally undergo an eye wall replacement cycle. When tropical cyclones get this strong, the eye wall starts to shrink. During this process, some of the outer rain bands will get stronger and form a new outer eye wall that slowly moves inward. Then, the storm usually weakens because of how the outer eye wall chokes the inner eye wall, with the strongest winds contracted within that eye wall. The storm may intensify again when the outer eye wall eventually totally replaces the inner one. According to NOAA, the duration of an eye wall replacement cycle can range from 12 to 18 hours to 2 to 3 days. These cycles can occur more than once during a tropical cyclone's journey. One good example of this is probably Category 5 Hurricane Isabel back in 2003. This storm went through multiple ERWCs in the Atlantic all the way to the Carolinas throughout its journey. A tropical cyclone that intensifies significantly in a brief amount of time is said to be experiencing rapid intensification. Forecast agencies that specialize in tropical cyclones use different criteria to categorize fast intensification events. However, the most commonly used definition calls for the rise of tropical cyclones' maximum sustained winds of at least 35 miles per hour over the course of a full day. But fast intensification phases commonly stretch beyond a single day. Likely a good example of this is probably Hurricane Iota that went from a Category 1 to a Category 4 in less than 3 to 4 days. Then, we move on to storm surge. The unexpected rise in sea levels that happens during a storm is known as storm surge. It expresses the height of water that's above the typical astronomical tide that is forecasted. This is normally caused by the winds of a storm pushing water on shore. Storm surge is commonly a hurricane's biggest threat to life and property along the coast. Vast numbers of people have ended up dead as a result of oceans surging to large heights during a hurricane's landfall. Unfortunately, a great example of this is Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. This storm claimed the lives of almost 1,500 people, mainly due to storm surge. However, there is one way to protect yourself from storm surge. Evacuate. If you ever get a mandatory evacuation in your area, that is telling you to move away from the immediate coast because you might be vulnerable to storm surge in your area. But what if you're not able to evacuate and you're forced to stay in your home? Make sure that you're on the downwind side of your house and away from windows. And be sure to have an emergency kit in place just in case anything goes downhill while riding out the storm. Now on to hurricane scales. All types of tropical cyclones have at least some sort of rating system from weakest to strongest. In the northern Atlantic and the eastern central Pacific, the NEC or the National Hurricane Center rates hurricanes from a scale of 1 to 5. In the western Pacific, the JMA or the Japan Meteorology Agency have typhoons rated from typhoon to violent typhoon. And finally, the IMD or the Indian Meteorological Department rates cyclones from a cyclonic storm to a supercyclonic storm. And that's the basics of hurricanes.